right. Good evening, everybody. Uh, to let's see if that works. To the second attempt, which hopefully will not be the oh no, will not lead to a third attempt. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I tried to do this, I think last Monday, this breakdown, and it didn't work because my computer fucked with me, or I wasn't prepared enough. And because many people did not understand why that was a problem, um, let me quickly. Okay, no, first, welcome. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to do a production breakdown of my last single, or my current single, Better. And what that means is that I will go through the songwriting process and the production process, and how the song got together, how it was written and how it was produced. I will explain a little bit about that, and I will also uh, show you how stuff was set up in the project. So if you're a musician or a producer, maybe you get an idea for new things, or maybe you figure something out that you haven't figured out yet. And if you're not a musician or a producer, maybe this is interesting for you because you've never seen it before. I don't know. I do this every month on my Patreon, at least once, sometimes 2-3 times. So the people in my Patreon, they've seen it many times. And if I move my mouse like this, it's just me randomly moving my mouse. Don't worry about it. Yes, just to quickly explain how this window is set up. How do I explain this? Now my mouse is actually moving correctly. On the left side, you see like this panel here. This is all the different instruments. If I click on this folder, it shows me more folders. So, and if I click here, these are all the different drum instruments. So this is a kick drum, like a low drum, and there you have a snare that's a little higher. SN is snare for a little bigger. So these things are all drum instruments. And if you look to the right of it, you will see little blocks. And if there's no block, let's say in this channel here, like on the snare big instrument here, there's nothing, which means the instrument is not playing. I'm doing this in the beginning now. I'm explaining this in the beginning because very often I get comments like, I don't know what you're doing there. I don't understand anything, but it seems very interesting, and it's amazing to hear how the song comes along. So that you don't not understand anything, so that you kind of have an idea of what I'm explaining later. I'm doing the little intro explanation at first. So from top to bottom are different kinds of instruments. And there are so many that I have hidden them in folders. Like these are all the synths. These are all the effects. This is all the orchestra. And then here's another folder with all the vocals and so on. So basically, whenever I highlight something here, like maybe this, you see that this channel, this instrument, this, for instance, this drum, gets highlighted in gray, and the channel goes a little wider. And then you can look over here. I make it much more. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. And can make it wider to see. So we're looking at this here, and this means this drum is basically playing all throughout the whole project. Okay. The different colors are just my personal. My personal thing of color coding all the different sections of the song. So blue for me is verses. Pink is chorus, and so on. I'll get to that later, but just in general, so that you kind of have an idea how to look at this. At the top, you have all the different bars. So this is where the song starts, and this is where it ends. It has like, I don't know, 160 something bars. And here you have all the instruments. Down here, doesn't really need to worry you. This is like a mixing board where I can just make stuff louder and not so loud. And you see they have all different volume levels. So the problem last time I tried to do this, let me switch this real quick here. This is a medium-sized project. So if you look at the very left here, it says Dessa number 1. That's one channel, and then we go to the right, and these are all the instruments in this song, and all the effects in this song, and it goes on and on and on and on, until at some point, still not there, still not there, still not there. At some point, still not there. At some point, we end up at channel 132. You probably can't see it because my picture, my camera will be in front of it, but at the very bottom is channel 132. And this amount of instruments, which are mostly not real instruments, they're computer-generated instruments, this needs a lot of processing power. And for some reason, I had set it up in a way that my computer, when streaming, couldn't handle it. But I fixed it, now it can handle it. So we shall start from the beginning. Once again, at the left, upper thing here, and from here to here is the song going from left to right. This is the start, this is the finish. And on the very left, from top to bottom, these are different instruments. Don't worry about the bottom. You don't really need that right now. Yeah, yes, and Morpheus is saying this is a medium-sized project. It's not that big compared to what other people are doing. For me, it's a bigger project, but you know, these days, many songs have 200, 250 channels, and mine had 32, something like that. So it's medium size. All right. I want to start with, oh yes, I started with that last time, and someone said, okay, what I started with is look at the folder. This is just the normal Windows folder, and the original file name for this was Future Pop Trap, and it was written on August 18th, 2020, at 1840, which is 6:40 in the evening, and the final version was, I think, number 30. 31 is just for this breakdown. So basically, in between, there's, what is this, 8, something like 40, 45 different versions. And that's because I just like to save. Anytime I do something new, I save another version. Back then, I didn't know Cubase had a thing for this. And here I already knew, so you see that that it's a little different, but doesn't matter. And the very first version, last time I wasn't able to load it, but I made a little render of it. And the very first version was just this. That was it. And I remember that I woke up at some point, like I had a nap. Sometimes I go have a nap at, like, I don't know, either at 3 in the afternoon or maybe sometimes 5 in the afternoon. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. And I woke up at, I don't know, like a little past 6 or something. And I had this in my head. So I just woke up, walked to the studio, and just programmed this and then saved it and left it again. So this was version 1, and that was it. It was literally 1 bar. It's not even as long as this. I just looped this for you so you could listen to how simple it initially was. It's just literally this. It's a clap and a kick. Is there a kick? Yes. Oh, Ermi is saying, could you explain channels at some point? Yes, channels just means... It's a good question. So what I earlier said about the instruments, let's say, again, we have a drum instrument like this crash here. It's a cymbal, like a typical drum cymbal that you would have on any drum. And this, like if it was a real studio, this would have a microphone on it and a cable, and it would go into a mixing desk, and it would go on one channel, which is like one track on the mixing board, which in my case is this one down here. So if I hit the this cymbal, the sound, technically the drummer would play it, the microphone would pick it up, and it would go into this channel. And if I move this fader, it gets louder. Very, very simply, a channel is just one sound strip where I can make things louder or softer or do things to the sound. That's a channel. And it's kind of the same as a track, but not really. Like a track would be on a tape machine, and a channel would be on a mixing board. Technically, it's different, but for the purposes of tonight, if I say it's the bass channel, then it's also the same as the bass track. It just means the bass instrument, or in this case, the cymbal instrument, or whatever instrument we're talking about. All right, back to that. I hope this clears it up for at least a little bit. I am not a lecturer on audio technical stuff, so I am not very competent to explain these things. All right, yes, what was I going to do? I showed you the very, 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 very simple initial idea. And it was one of these ideas where I woke up and I had it in my head and I immediately thought, this is really nice. I should really, 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 really record this quickly. And I mean, it was really quickly done, as simple as it is. But very often, sorry, the COVID has got me. No, I'm joking. Very often it's enough to make it sound terribly cheesy and cheap, because the only thing you need is the melody, and you can do all the work to it later. But if you don't record it, or if you don't write it down, then it doesn't stay in your memory, and you lose the idea. So most of the time I sing everything in my phone or record it quickly in the studio. So this was Future Pop Trap version 1, and I also rendered here, like made a file out of version 9, which is the version that I sent Chris Harms from Lord of the Lost, the other guy who's singing on the track. If you don't know his band, you should check them out. And I'm going to quickly play you this version. It's a little longer than this part, because this has my very shitty initial vocals on it. And the thing with demos is that I usually don't put too much effort in the vocals on the demo, because you have to re-sing them most of the time. If there's a track with a guest singer, like here with Chris, there's especially no point in making any effort in the vocals, because you don't know if you have to change the key. You don't know, like, the key, if it's C or if it's D or if it's F, whatever the key of the song is. You don't know who's going to take what line, who's going to sing what. So what I usually do is I just quickly sing the vocals, and I tune them with auto-tune very hard for 2 reasons. First of all, I don't want to spend any effort in singing correctly. Second, if you tune the vocals, the guest singer has a much better chance of figuring out especially exactly what the note is, because it's so robotic. And this is especially true in this case, because this song for me is the worst key. It's I think in A minor, which is for me is as far away from my optimal voice range as possible. So that's why I try to tune it as much as I can. The chorus is a little better. You will see. Just listen to it. It's very tuned, but this is what I sent Chris. And now I'll never like the sun. I stayed inside when I was young. And now for once I look above. Cannot give it up. And does it ever get better? As you can see at this point, if you're really not paying any attention, most people do not hear much of a difference to the finished version. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference, but at this point, the song is already almost finished. I mean, it had background vocals in the second half. No, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. At this point, the song is not very different. But what's important, and Chris is a complete exception to this rule. But in general, whoever you work with in the music industry, they might be very successful musicians, successful singers, whatever. If you don't send them something that almost sounds like what you have in mind, they will not be able to judge the potential of the song. They will not have the, what do you call it, the vision, or the ability to imagine what that song could actually become. I don't know why. Maybe it's just not what they do. Maybe they're just playing instruments or singing or whatever. But if I learned one thing, it is that you have to make demos as close as possible to the finished version, so that the guest vocalist or whoever's going to work with it, maybe a producer, maybe someone else, can have an idea of what it sounds like. Chris is very different in that regard. I could literally send him like a shitty acoustic version, and he'd know if it's good or not, because he's a really good musician. He's a very good songwriter. He's a very good producer. So in this case, it wasn't even necessary, but I was producing it anyway, so why not? Another reason why I didn't care much about the vocals was because you don't want to take what do you call it, options away from the guest singer. Maybe Chris says, "Oh, I can envision this and this," and he has different ideas. But if the vocals are too finished, then very often people just go like, "Oh well, okay, yeah, I don't know, let's do it like that." But if you give them like halfway shitty vocals, there's like, people can envision what it's supposed to sound like, but it doesn't sound too finished. I did this exact same thing with Sven Friedrich of Solarfake. The version that he got was not very different from the ending version, but it was very different. Like if you play them next to each other, they sound quite different if you have a trained ear. All right, so if you look, wait, you don't have to look. Let me make this bigger. How do I? Yes. Oh. So the lyrics, I don't remember when I started, but I started writing them, I think, quite quickly, because a few days after I wrote the initial short demo, I had these two lines in my head, I think. And I don't remember exactly, because I can never remember anything. I don't remember exactly why I thought they would be good for this. But I remember writing them down and thinking, maybe it works. And then I don't know if you know these situations. I wrote them down, and in my phone, I use Google Keep, which is a great note-taking app. Google gives it to you for free, and it's in the cloud. So wherever I am, if I wanted to, like, if you look up here, Google Keep's always open. I can just go to my ideas wherever I am and use them. So I wrote it down, and then the rest of the day, my brain said, "Oh, this is the right thing for this idea that you had the other day." So I sat down, and I think I sang the chorus or something like that, but I'm not sure. I don't exactly remember how I did it. What I usually do is I just write it down in this notepad thing inside of the project. And I find this kind of important, because I too, keep their lyrics away from their song, like, I don't know, in a notebook or in Google Drive, on a Google document, or in Word. But until you have recorded something, that stuff kind of gets lost. So what I like to do, Usually it's not as big. It's like it was in the beginning. It's just like little stuff and like small at the side here. And whenever I come back to the project, I can just look at it and see what I wrote there. And that's what I did in this case. So I only had the chorus, and then I just sang the chorus really badly, like really badly. I think at that time I was in such bad singing shape because I wasn't talking to anyone. It was August or something, and due to like, I mean, I don't talk to many people anyway during the day, but at that point, I think I wasn't talking to more than 4 people, 4 or 5 people a week for a very short amount of time. Um, Simply because I'm not on the phone much, and I didn't have many face-to-face interactions, and the online interactions were usually like with text. So my voice was like really unused most of the time, and didn't sound too good. So I just recorded that, and then decided that it sounded really, really good, and I should write the rest of the lyrics. And the rest of the lyrics came. Let me make them big again so you can see them. The rest of the lyrics were a combination of old lyrics that I had. By old lyrics, I don't mean lyrics from songs I had already written, but for instance, these 2 lines, I wrote them, I don't know when, a long time ago. I don't even remember what was in my head when I wrote them, whenever, maybe 5 years ago or something. But they were in the Google Keep note for a certain type of lyric. This was probably dark or something like that, dark or sad or whatever. I have them categorized. So if I write party in the back, party in the front, something comes to my head, I don't write it into the dark lyric category. I write it into the ironic, fun party category. So whenever I need something that I want to like, if I have a party song, then I can just look into that category, and I don't have a million sad or aggressive or deep lyrics in there. This is literally the number one reason why I can produce so much and write so much, and that is because I don't wait. I don't come here and say, "Oh, tonight I need to write something," and then I look at stare at the ceiling and I hope for inspiration to strike. So if something comes into my head, I write it down, and then later I can pull it out and see if I need it. And that's why I said most of the other lyrics were written a long time before, because probably I know this one was written a long time earlier. I don't remember this one. These were written a long time earlier, probably 10 years earlier. I don't know, but long time. And the point here is to find out what the song is about, and then see what you have. See what basically your creativity, your life, the muse, whatever you want to call it, what that has given you throughout the week, the day, and the time that you've been collecting ideas. And that's why in the release text, I wrote that the song kind of wanted to be written, because I think with the exception of this line that I'm going to talk about in a minute, everything was written in 20 minutes, something like that. When I wrote this, recorded it, and then I wrote the rest really, really quickly. And it fit really well. And that is the thing where you kind of have to pay attention, or I have to pay attention and say, does it work really quickly? Does it come together and it works really well and it makes a lot of sense, and it, how do you say this? It feels right, and it conveys the right emotion that I feel and that maybe a lot of other people can relate to. And if these things come together, like without effort or without conscious effort, then it's kind of like, to me, it's the song tells me, hey, 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 you got something here. I want to get out in the world. There were more things like that, but I'll get to that a little later. So this line, what is the goal of life? This is so interesting. When the rest of the lyrics were written, within a few days. Oh, wait, let me. I needed some part for the bridge and the breakdown. And within a few days, I came across the movie documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune. I had seen this at least 3 times before, but not in a long time, in a few years. And for some reason, YouTube showed me, I don't know what it was, maybe like a little clip or something with Jodorowsky came up. And it was like a trailer for the movie Jodorowsky's Dune. I watched it, just the trailer, just because I liked the documentary. And in the trailer, he said this, which was also one of my favorite quotes from that movie. And I said, man, this is so perfect for the breakdown here. And so I went and I tweeted Jodorowsky on Twitter and said, hey, I'm an independent artist. I would like to use this, like the vocal sample of you saying this. Can I use it? Is it okay? And I never got a reply. I mean, Alejandro, he's I don't know how old he's, 75, something like that. I am very certain he does not use his own Twitter. It's probably done by his management. Maybe I'm wrong, but nobody ever really posts there and nobody replies to anything. So I did not get a reply. And whenever I do not get a, what do you call that? Whenever I request to use some sample, and I don't get a reply or a confirmation that I can use it, then I just speak it myself. And in this case, I did just that. Chris asked me where the sample is from. I said, "Oh, it's me." But for those of you who do not know the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune, it's one of the best, probably the best movie documentary I've ever seen. You all know the movie Dune, which is a complete shit fest. It's fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. I think they made a new one just now, which I haven't seen, or maybe it is not done yet, but the original one. And this documentary is about a really strange director who's doing art house movies that get whole countries pissed off at him. Really like weird political occult stuff. And for some reason, he gets to make the project that he wants to do. And he says, let me do Dune. And this movie is about his struggle to make the movie Dune. And Jodorowsky is such a cool guy. And the whole movie is so inspiring that if you haven't seen it, and if you're even remotely either into science fiction or remotely into just being a positive person and making the best out of things, you have to watch this. And this line, now we take the road back, is obviously, for me, it said exactly the answer to the question here. Regardless of if it gets better or if it gets blacker, this is the thing you have to do. And probably if you do that, it's going to get better. But even if it gets blacker, that is the for me, that is one of the possible answers. And the thing is here, very often people think I'm just fucking around with my stuff. But if you have a bridge in a song, let's say you have a song about, I don't know, a very simple song about dancing. Generally, you want the bridge to have something. In the bridge, you want lyrically to give a second perspective on the whole topic of the song. So if the song is about dancing and about, I don't know, how great the night is, you want to have a little different twist on the lyrics of the song in the bridge, because the bridge musically is different than the rest. So you want it to be lyrically different, so you can go back into the chorus, which will go back to the topic of the song. And here it's the same thing. It's basically not the same thing, but in the verses and in the chorus, I'm describing a situation and I'm asking a question what's going to be, and in the bridge I'm giving somewhat of an answer to that. And I found it really, really, I don't know what you call it, telling that when I didn't have the lyric here, because that was the last line that was missing, basically it came out of nowhere and was in my head from this little trailer, and I knew instantly that it had to go in that part because it's literally the answer to the question in the chorus. And all right, there's too much stuff in the chat. I'm not gonna read all that. Sorry. If you have questions, write them in the chat. But if you're just talking about baby sharks, I'm just going to ignore that. All right, because I have to focus on this stuff here. Good. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have here. I still haven't heard this Baby Shark song. I'm probably better off for it, not having heard it. So, if we look at this again from... For those of you who have joined only recently, why is this not doing what I wanted to do? All right. From left to right, this is the start of the song right here. This is the end of the song. And from top to bottom here are all the instruments. And right now, if you look at it, I have sorted the instruments into folders because there's just too many. If I open them all, I have to scroll all the time. Oh, let me actually do this. All right, let's do that. So, you are, I am, what? Oh, I don't know. If you guys write something to what I said, you have to understand you're about 30 seconds behind. So you please have to write what I said before. If you just write you are, then I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. I can't remember what I said 5 seconds ago. Okay. At the very top, now I'm going to go to that later. Let's start with, what am I going to start with? Let's start with the drums. Actually, no. Okay, one of the things that people always do when they mix songs is for some reason they start with drums, which is not very smart. It is very smart if drums are the most important thing in the song, but if drums don't really matter that much, it would be a much more, I don't know, feasible way of how do you say, of starting a mix or an explanation with the stuff that actually matters. In this case, this would be the vocals, because I mean, literally, this song could be just vocals and guitar, which I just recently did with Faderhead, which was really cool. We just played a two vocal version, one guitar, two vocals. It's very nice. Okay, the singers on this track are obviously Chris and me, and what you don't know is that Danny, Delta Mode Danny, did some harmonies for me, and they're in this folder, and I will get to them a little later. But what we have here, technically, is that, let me make this a little bigger. that Chris and I, we, as you know, we did both. No, how do you call it? We sing alternately. He sings one line, I sing one line. He sings one line, I sing one line. Of course, I didn't know which line would be good for who. So I asked Chris to sing all of the vocals. So we can now maybe let's do that like this. So if I can mute myself and just have him sing here. Oops, nope, let's solo him.
You know I never liked the sun.
This is one of the vocals that Chris sent me.
Inside when I was young. And now for once I looked above.
This is now without any of the effects.
Cannot give it up.
Let's do it here, same here.
I always try to hide my hurt. Can't wear my pain just like a shirt. And I hate those who speak the truth. 'Cause I avoid it with you. Does it ever get...
I can do the same for me. I don't know if that's really that interesting, but wait, let me do it for one of these. Jesus shit! I have too much in my face here. Let's. By too much in my face, I mean the mics thing here. All right, let's do me.
You know I never liked the sun.
The thing with these vocals always is...
I stayed inside when I was young.
I'll get to that myself in a second.
And now for once I looked above. I cannot give it up.
So if you compare this, it's not really that different. His sound is a little more high-endy. And I got the question from Inessa and from Marcel, where did I record the vocals, which mic and vocal chain was used. Chris recorded his vocals in his studio, which is Chameleon Studios here in Hamburg. He has one of, I think, 3 studios. Maybe they have 4, I don't know. I only know 3. And he has one of those. He sent me a bunch of pictures of what he was recording with, and it was some stuff. I don't remember. It sounded very good. Like most of, let me see. If you look at this, I didn't do much to it. I just took some. Oh yeah, let me take it out of the corner here because my camera is in front of it. This is all I did. I did a little roll off here and a little roll off there. And usually when you have to do so little to recorded vocals, it means they were recorded really well. Obviously, it's his job. He knows what he's doing. He's very good at it. I don't know what he used. I can find it out. If someone sends me an email and they really want to know, I will send you the info. But it was a good combination of nice gear. In my case, I used exactly the same mic here. This one is Shure SM7B. And in my case, yeah, it wasn't too bad. I did a little more to it here, but the point was not because the vocals were terribly recorded, but because I wanted to get my sound closer to his. Simply because it never sounds particularly good when you have a duet of 2 people and they sound like, I don't know, they're singing completely different in completely different songs. You can do it if you want. But I thought in this case, our voices were similar enough so that they kind of needed the same vocal treatment. So let me fix this again. I was thinking of maybe putting out a version where each of us sings the whole song. I'm not sure I want to do that actually, but we'll see. Let me see. Let me mute that again so that I don't fuck it up.
I stayed inside.
All right. And basically what's on the vocals, there's a lot of stuff on the vocals. So let me see what I'm doing here.
You know
So this is Chris, but it's the same for me on that side. I'm just removing all the low end. I'm de-essing it a little.
You know I never liked the sun.
Gate, always have a
You
gate.
know I never.
Although I didn't need it here. And I'm compressing it. Compressing it, not much, I think.
You know I never
more than I thought.
liked the sun.
Okay. When people talk about how much compression they put on vocals or how little, I find this to be very, very unhelpful. This is a little bit more technical nerd shit, but since people have been asking and someone will be thinking about this, sometimes I put 20 dBs of compression on vocals, sometimes 1 dB. And the reason is because sometimes it sounds shitty with too little compression, sometimes it sounds good with with too much, with whatever. Either way it might sound good. And there's no point in saying you have to use this or that unless it sounds really good. And if it doesn't sound good, do something else. If Mixer King, whoever, said I use -5 dB compression on my vocals, who cares? Maybe you need more, maybe you need less. Yes, and then here it's just a delay and a reverb. And you already heard what the delay and the reverb does. It's a lot of stuff.
No, I never liked the sun.
Now it's off.
You know I never liked the sun.
Now it's on.
You know I never liked the sun.
And I am not a fan of vocals that are too dry. It works, obviously, but for vocals like Chris and mine, who are very low in this case, it generally, I don't know. I don't like it to be too dry because they kind of disappear because they don't have so much. They don't cut through as well if you keep them too dry. All right. These are the verses. Let me close all this. And I mean, you heard it. You know the song, hopefully. If not, go listen to it. I put the link in the description. Do it now. Be a man. Let's see what we have here. It's the chorus. Let's put the chorus. Wait. Where's my... damn it. I should have stayed here. Okay, chorus. All right.
Does it better?
All right, this will be okay in a second.
Or does it get blacker?
These are somewhat distorted already.
Does it ever get better?
And this is with background vocals.
Or does it get blacker?
The original ones are kind of distorted because they needed to cut through the background vocals.
Does it ever get better?
Why are the background vocals now not off? Come on, guys.
Does it ever get better?
The background vocals here is me. It's just me, I don't know, 17 times or something, singing the same thing over and over again. So basically like that.
Does it ever get better?
And then the rest would run, and then it's me again.
Or does it get blacker?
This is the stuff that nobody really enjoys, but you have to do it to make it sound nice. What are you going to do?
Or does it get blacker?
Because without it, it's just...
Does it ever get better?
It's just that. It's still not too bad, but... basically how this went is Chris gave me 3 or 4, I don't remember, whole songs. He sang the song from start to finish, and he sent me those files. And I picked out of the 3 different or 4 different takes, I picked what I liked. And then later I sang my actual vocal to it. Like, if you remember the original one, I sang kind of like shitty. Because I also wanted to figure out to see what Chris was going to send me, and then I would work around him. One of the things, if you look here, Chris is the guy who gets the first vocal. I did the same with Sven here again, gets the first vocal. And if I have a guest vocalist, even though it's my track and I wrote it and everything, it's released under Faderhead, I want to feature the vocalist. I don't want to be like, my balls are the biggest, fuck you all, I'm gonna make it sound so that I'm great and he's not, or something. I want the vocalist to be in the center of the song, and hopefully not sound too terrible in the comparison. So for me, it was important to see what I get from Chris and then work around it and sing my stuff around it. Obviously, I sent him the lyrics and the melody first, and he was very close to what I had been singing. But his vocal here and here were the stuff I worked on first, and once that was done, I did my thing. And then because I don't expect a guest vocalist to spend I don't know how much time recording 16 times whatever vocals, and so I did it in that instance. And for the vocals, Chris sent me some ad libs, and if you don't know what ad libs are, they're stuff like that. In this case, they're not very ad libby here.
Does it ever get better?
Where he changes the melody, and also where the hell is the other one up here?
Better. Or does it get blacker? Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker?
If you paid a lot of attention, you noticed that he is breathing and rasping at the end.
Does it?
And this is something with the compression, now I remember why I put so much more compression on his vocal than I thought, because that's stuff I wanted to get out. It was important to me that if he sang it like that, it creates more emotion than if you don't keep it in. You can cut it out. A lot of producers might have cut it out because they thought it sounded too, I don't know, unclean or whatever. But I thought it was especially good, so I made it loud enough that if you listen to it in the song, you will actually hear it. If you don't listen, you won't. You don't hear it. So when this part was done, like basically most of the song was done, and it was still missing something. And I talked to Danny and said, Danny, if you don't know who he is, a very good friend of mine, I write with him all the time. His producer name is The Delta Mode. I just started a podcast with him, which you should listen to if you're German and understand German. And I asked him if he could just do some higher backing vocals for me, because Danny has a very distinguishable voice, which is especially good when he's high or medium. So he sent me all these tracks, and what he generally does is, which is really, really fucking cool. I like that. I didn't know he was doing that, but he does these atmospheric things, and they sound like this.
Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker?
That's actually not what I wanted. Which one is it? Wait. Let's see. This. I put it in the mix, not that loud, but it's very like it lifts up to the last chorus. And the thing is this, I added my own vocals here. So the second chorus has a little more vocals than the first one, but the last ones needed more and more and more vocals, because you don't want people to get bored and just give them the same that you give them here. So I gave them a little more here and a little more here. So basically Danny is singing, I don't know, 5 different things. And so let's listen. Oh yeah, my favorite is his octave, because he has such a distinguishable voice that I had to make it not very loud in the mix, because otherwise it would have been much more clear than Chris and me. Simply because anything that's sung in a higher what do you call it? Higher register is always going to come out clearer, simply because our ear works like that. If it's low, not so clear.
Does it ever get better?
It's so good.
Or does it get blacker?
Let me run it with the full vocals, and then I'm going to make Danny louder and softer. Let's see if that works.
Does it ever get better?
Oh, that's not Danny. Background vocals. I have to see what's what here.
Does it ever get better? Does it ever get better?
That's Chris.
Or does it get blacker?
If we have Danny normal, it's too loud.
Does it ever get better? Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker?
I'm going to put him back in the normal.
Does it get blacker? Does it ever get better?
Now he's not as loud.
Or does it get blacker? Does it ever get better?
In the finished song, if you now know, you will notice Danny. If you didn't know before, you probably didn't notice. I haven't talked to anyone who said, man, Sami, I really liked your high vocals. Sometimes people say that, and then I say, no, it's not me, it's someone else. But exactly. You don't remember him because I made him not loud, so that you notice. But if he wasn't there, okay, let me do that. Let me play this and not play Danny, and then put him in.
Does it ever get better? Does it ever get better?
Same thing with Danny.
Does it ever get better?
It's very subtle, but it really helps. Like for me, it really helps to sell it if I take him out again.
Does it ever get better? Does it ever? Does it ever get better? Does it ever?
Yeah, exactly. He carries the transition, and it also, what we did was, this here is left and right. It's very left and right.
Does it ever get better?
And if we do, let's say, Chris up. No, that doesn't work. He's not here. But Chris main. We're in the middle.
Does it ever get better?
So the middle vocal is Chris and me, and Danny is left and right because he's also higher. And this makes it interesting because you feel it more than you hear it. And that was exactly what I wanted. I wanted like a lift, but you don't know exactly what it is, because it makes absolutely no sense to have a feature vocal with a well-known singer from a certain music scene and then make the high-pitched backing vocals of a friend who's not even in the same scene make it so loud that they drown out the main vocals. That wasn't the point. The point was to make it so that it lifts, that gives the, what do you call it? It gives the feeling, and it's still there if you know it. If you take it out, you notice immediately, but it just provides the feeling without taking the spotlight too much. And Danny did a really good job. I think it took him an hour or something. I gave him the playback. He recorded it in his place and just sent it back to me. So this is basically what the vocals look like. It's Chris and me exchanging. I had 3 tracks from Chris, and then it's me doing 16 tracks of vocals, 8 left, 8 right on the backings. And then it's Danny doing harmonies and, extra atmospheres. Right. Let me have a sip of water. Let me have a sip of water. Agua. And then let's see what else we have. Right. Okay. Let's go to the instrumental. I'm going to close this folder with all vocals. The whole project is just too long if you what do you call it? If you expand it all. I'm going to look at the special effects later, but those are not really that interesting. If you remember, let me play that again. This was the original idea here. This was the... If you weren't here in the beginning, this was the very first idea that I had. So when we go and look at this, back in the demo, why is this here? Oh, because it's still there. So apparently, I don't know how many I have here. These are the ones that are playing now. Let's see, where is it? And what I did here is that these are the same synth, which is one is mono in the middle, one is mono left, and one is mono right. And this is very important. I don't know if you see me from the side. There's a thing right here, which is a single little what do you call it? Speaker, and I only have it so that I can listen to some music in mono because the cell phone speakers and laptop speakers are very often, even though they're two speakers, they're chained after one another and they play stuff in mono. You have to, sometimes if you listen to your phone and your phone is like this and you switch your phone, sometimes this actually does change. But most of the time, especially with guitars and synths, when they're very stereo, you lose them when things collapse to mono. And for me, it was very, very important that in whatever situation you listen to, you definitely hear this in the chorus. All right. And so what I did is basically I did this synth in mono in the middle. The same synth in mono to the left. If you look up here, it's all the way to the left. And the same synth on the other side all the way to the right. And what you do is you change the EQ. You say, okay, guy on the left gets a little bump here at whatever this is, 1.2. This is completely by ear. There's no, what do you call it? No rule to this. This other guy gets a bump at 2.5 and no cutoff on the high end. What this does is it makes it wider. Our ears, they notice if the same thing comes from both sides, it seems like if it is in the middle. If you have different things coming from the left and right, either you play it by hand or you take the same sound and you EQ it differently. And I'm sure that inside of the synth, I changed stuff to little stuff, but not much. Then you get the same kind of sound, but wider. And if you put the mono thing in the middle, let me see how I EQ'd this. It sounds very big in comparison. Let me see what I kind of did the same thing there. And if you just listen in comparison. Here's the original. And here's just the three that are wider. It sounds not very different because it's supposed to not sound very different, but it comes from everywhere, from the middle and from the sides. So that was one of the important things that I did. What else do we have? Oh, and the most important thing is, compared to the demo, I distorted this synth. So when it goes on, if you can see it here, can you see it here? Yes. Every time it comes to this, it distorts more, then it goes back down. If you're old enough to know Sim Ronan, this is the thing that says "Make Song Harder" knob, where he twists to make the song harder. It's actually literally on his Virus synth. So I don't know. Yes, that. I don't know what this is. It says lead synthwave, but that's later, I guess. Yes, we'll look at this. I don't know why it's muted. The guitar thing here is not a real guitar. It's a sample guitar. And that's it. There's not much to it. That's just playing here. What else do we have on it? There's not much on it. Little chorus, little verb, not much EQ. And it just plays until it gets to the chorus. I don't know why I stopped it there, but I did. Usually I wouldn't do that, but I must have done it to give room to something else. Because you don't have to have it everywhere. You always want to focus on the things that are important at that point. Probably some singing at this point or something. Most people would put the guitar left and right, but in this case, I didn't think it was necessary, because while the guitar is very noticeable, it's also not that in the front. The vocal was in the front, the bass was very loud. And yeah, that was not an important decision. The guitar was more to give it the feel of something like The Cure, Placebo, more like this gothy, rocky, alternative kind of vibe. Just so I didn't want the track to be too electronic only. I don't know why I didn't want it. There was no clear decision made saying, I don't know, for whatever reason, I have to do this, but I just wanted it to be like that. And the guitar was one of the first things I added after the initial idea. So let's see, is there anything else? What is this? I don't know what these synth. There's a percussive synth. Let's see what this does. Okay, this is not very interesting. But the thing is, these kind of things exist. Let's go through all of them just once to see what they are. Virus mono we already did. Disto pad. This is just to make the chorus a little thicker. Oh, a lot thicker. Let's listen to the chorus in full, and I take it out. Let's see how that works. Now it's off. Now it's on.
Or does it
Off.
get blacker?
It's a lot. On.
Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker?
Now it's off. If you know what to listen for, this makes a huge difference. Because it kind of connects with the rising virus here. It gets Now I know why the guitar stopped, because everything stops synth-wise there, so obviously the guitar had to stop. So this disto pad was very important. I remember now that I was very happy when I found the right sound for it, but it took quite a while. I don't know what this does here. I mean, I listened to it, but...
No, I never liked the sun. I stayed inside when I was young.
Yeah, if I take this one out, this little... The song loses a lot of the groove and the drive. Let me just try to. I can make it louder. Let's do that.
You know I never liked the sun.
It's out.
I stayed inside when I was young, and now for once I look above.
Oh wait, I opened some vocals here. I think I didn't mute my vocals when they should be muted. That's what happens when you don't pay attention. All right. This thing, when I listened to it on its own at first, I thought it wasn't important. But if you take it out, it kind of... I'm gonna make it way too loud, and then I'm gonna drop it out and in. So let me make it loud now, and I'm gonna start with it. And when I hit the little M button, it will stop and start. It's mute basically.
You know I never liked the sun. I stayed inside when I was young.
On again.
Young. And now for once I looked above. I cannot keep...
Obviously it wasn't that loud in the original, but these are the kind of little things that if you turn them all off, there's nothing left of the song. And if you have a really good song, it can still work, but if you have these things, that's the stuff that people feel without knowing that they feel it. And you sing along with the vocals, and maybe you think the guitar is nice or something, but these kind of little things, they make things much better in a song when it comes to, you know, nodding along with it, dancing to it, singing to it. And
You know I never liked the sun.
Okay, what else do we have? Transgate. Yeah, right. Let me see. I laughed at this one. This is this sound here. When I made this, I really had to chuckle because these types of sounds were so out of style, and they just recently came back a year ago. So I decided, why the hell not? Just put it in there. And if you pay attention, it's not. It's not in this. What do you call it? In this chorus, it's only in this chorus, and then I had it here. The white stuff is where it's supposed to be, but I muted it because I later added other things, so this wasn't needed anymore. So this little instrument only shows up here to give the second chorus a little bit of a lift.
Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker?
That was it. If you didn't hear it properly, I'm going to make it louder now.
Blacker.
It's off now. Starts here.
Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker?
If you have it in there, and if you listen to the mixed final version, you will hear it. But it's one of these things, again, you have to pay attention. If you just sing along and don't pay attention, you will probably not notice. But the thing it does, it changes the energy from here to here. This second part has a little more energy, and that's all you want. You just want to progress the song and go up and down, up and down. All right, what else is here? Sad echo. All right, let's see what the sad echo is. Always good to have a sad echo. Oh, that's very, very sad and very soft. Oh, wait. It's so soft because it's in the filtered down. Let's go here. Yes, this is very sad. Sad man in the Arctic. Waiting for the love of their life or some shit like that. Sad man. on an iceberg. Yes, that's a good one. What else do we have here? Reverse string. Let's see. Ah, this is just for atmosphere, but it's a good one. And it goes from left to right. Now it's on the right. Back on the left. This just creates some tension and more atmosphere. More atmosphere. All right, these are the synths. They're not that many synths, actually. Oh, wait, what is this synth wave here? I don't know. It's muted, which means I don't know if it's muted. Oh. Right, yes, it was muted on purpose, because I had this idea and then later decided less is more and just muted it. Right, okay. I think I had this idea before I got Chris's vocals back, and he then sang the long vocal, and then I muted this thing because it was just clashing with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unmute it and let it play and make it louder just to show you how it doesn't work with the thing that he sang. I'm very happy that he sang what he sang, so this little synth had to go. The melody is nice, but it's just too much. There's too many things fighting for attention. And if there's one thing that you want when you make a song and when you mix a song is you want to guide the listener's attention exactly to the thing that you want them to pay attention to. And in this case, in this part, I want them to pay attention to Chris's ooh and not to anything else. That's also why if you look here in this part, I took away some stuff that was here. Oh, it's the left and right main synth. I took out the whole main synth here. Like the whole main idea of the song, I took it out just so we would have more orchestra and more focus on the vocals. Really, really important if you want an interesting song, but not a total mess in the mix later. So that was the synths. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. So let me close that. Let's see what the orchestra is. All right. Yes. In the beginning, when this song was being written, I asked Danny again if he could just do some strings for me, because at that point he had a library that he really liked. And I'm not going to go through all these strings because there's just like little stuff here and there. And with strings, with an orchestra, as you know, it's not like one guy, like everyone plays the same. It's like a choir sings this and a horn. So what he did was make we talked about this, like a very tension creating building thing. I purposely took a later part of the orchestra. Let me make it a little louder here for you. So as you see here, what it doesn't do, it doesn't move with the chords. It doesn't go 3 notes down and up, which was on purpose because I wanted it to create tension in the background. Just like leave this one note, and that was what he gave me. If you pay attention closely, these ones here, they're all audio files. That's what Danny sent me. And later in the track, I decided I don't like the way this is creating tension. It's too much tension. And then I went here and what do you call it? I made my own orchestral, what do you call them? Bass sounds. Not bass, this the thing. Not bass the instrument, but like the basses, so that the chord changes would come back into the orchestra. Let me play that. This is what Danny's thing wasn't doing. Danny's was building up and it was going straight. So I later added this. Here's with Danny. Let me play this again without my additional orchestra. So this is without. Now with more. This is more the poppy motion of it. But this is now much louder than it is in the mix. If I put it like it is in the mix, this is what you hear. So it really only creates atmosphere. It's not meant to be very much in the front. And once again, what it's supposed to do is lift up the end of the song. Just give you more and more and more thickness and atmosphere. Good. And then, of course, because nothing ever happens without the Gillian, when the song was pretty much done, literally, I think a day before I was about to send it off, I sent it to Gillian and said, you have any suggestions? And he said, yes. Sorry. He said, you need brass in the end. You definitely need brass in the end just to give it like this epic, goosebumpy feel. And I was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But the problem with Gillian is he's generally right. And I've learned this over the years. And so whenever he says I should do something, even if I don't think it's a good idea, these days I just do it because the likelihood of his idea being not wrong and me being wrong is pretty high. So I just added brass, which in this case sounds like this. Typical, very, very simple, but because there's so much in the track already, there was no need to make it bigger. It was very, very mechanic, very quick. The whole thing here took 10 minutes or something. But I'm going to leave it out for now and let me play the orchestra loud for now first. No brass. Going to add some brass after this one. It's just a big lift. And again, in reality, it's not that loud. In reality, when I don't demonstrate it for you, it's like this. Oops. Why is the brass not in the orchestra? That's interesting. Where does it go? Oh, it goes into the no filter mix for some reason that I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter because in the final mix, it has the exact right loudness. I don't know why it doesn't show properly right now, but that's okay. If you pay attention now, it's very hard to even hear the brass. Now it comes in more because it plays higher. depending on how good the speakers or the headphones are, the brass are somewhat on the left side. Not much. If you look up here, it's the panning is L22. L22 means C is center. It's right in the middle. You hear it in both speakers or headphones at the same level, so it's right in the middle. And left 22 means, oh, well, I'm the opposite side of you, but yeah, whatever. Means it's a little bit to the left. And if you pay special attention, you will actually notice that. So that is the orchestra. If there's no orchestra in the end, let's do that for a change. Let's go in here and see what it sounds like without orchestra. Wait, where do I go here?
Or does it get blacker?
With?
Does it ever get better? Or does it get blacker? And does it ever get better?
As you see, there's a bunch of tracks in there, and they just create a big bed of lift. That's the orchestra here. What else do we have? Let's go for the drums. Drums are simple. These are simple drums. So if we just play the drums, I think they're pretty much the same throughout the whole track, aren't they? Let me see. These are what I call teardrop Massive Attack style drums. If you remember the song Teardrop by Massive Attack, that's what they sound like, kind of. That's all there is. I think it's getting a little more now in the verse, in the chorus. Bigger snare, simply because creating a change from the chorus to the verse, and vice versa. But that's it. There's not much in there. And then it goes back to nothing again. Very, very simple drums. Because the song has so much other stuff, and the rhythm is supposed to be a rhythm, but it's not supposed to be a focus on the drums like a club song. Here, this is my favorite part, which is where in the bridge, I have additional drums run through distortion. Oh, wait. What I want to do is actually just play those. Those are the distorted drums on their own. Oh wait, something's wrong. Why is this fucking round? Let's do it again. And this in full. What is happening?
I'd rather stay alone.
It just it fills out the background.
I'd rather stay at home with that one remaining girl.
Let me take them off. Now there's no distortion drums. Again.
Does it ever get better? Does it ever get...
These drums make so much of the atmosphere of the breakdown, because they're filtered in, they start slowly filtered down, and they take up so much of the background ambience that it's really important. All right. I think that's it for the drums. The bass is very, very simple. It's just one bass sound. Usually I use 2, 3, 4 bass sounds. This one is just this, and I didn't do much. Took some off here, took some off here, and put some saturation. This is I think Puracy just asked me earlier if I fixed the bass thing. What he was referring to was when I found this bass sound and I really liked it, I made one or two tracks where the bass was too pronounced. And yes, I figured it out. And what that was just me overdoing the saturation in the 92 to whatever 1,300 hertz range. What this really does, for people who don't know, let me do that. This bass is a very subby, very low bass. But you can't hear it on your speakers if you don't distort this. Wait, did I distort it twice? Why is this so distorted? What is this? Interesting. Is it a different bass? Oh, interesting. Yes, I have it distorted here. I'm completely lying. I'm telling you completely wrong things. None of what I just said is true. Puracy, this is not the same bass. I used an 808 sample here. Okay, don't worry about it. Everything I said is wrong. I just used a sample, pitched it, and distorted it. Very nice. Fuck. All right. So this is just a simple 808 bass, which is very unusual for the goth scene. I haven't heard it once in any goth songs. It's a typical trap hip-hop bass. And so if you put these together, you could literally have, especially when we have the... that's the wrong hat, but like when we have some hi-hats in here. Do we have hi-hats in here? Maybe here. This could almost be a trap beat. Now it couldn't be anymore. But I didn't really care because I liked the way this filled out the song. And I figured the song will be emotional enough and the bass is there only to carry the harmonies. So I just decided, fuck it, I'm just going to keep this bass because it really sticks through and it's very loud and very clear. So I like that. This is just a sample and it's tuned and it's playing up and down. Nothing special. And I think, oh no, special effects. Last thing, the very last thing, these guys, there's not much to it. It's just a bunch of reverse cymbals. Stuff like that. But it's a lot of that. Like all over the track. Well, it's not that much actually. It looks more than it is. These kinds of things, if you don't put them in, your songs will sound very much, what do you call it? Not fluid. Like one section to the next, the transitions are going to be, I'm not going to say bad, but you have to make it work in a very different way. Let's see. Like here we're going from verse to chorus. So this is going here and this is moving over here. On this one, I'm going from one part of the verse to the next part of the verse. So there's a little thing going over. This is actually not that much. Here, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is coming in when the chorus is over. So it's telling you this, whatever it is telling you that the end of the part before has happened. What is this? Transition. Let me see. I don't know what this is. Oh, this here is the sound of the vinyl. Like in the beginning also there's a vinyl crackle. As if you put like a old record on. These are all like very little things that you do, and you see they're always, or almost always, when one part comes into the next. What is this here? See, this is this very big snare at the end of Where is that? At the end of a chorus, because it tells you chorus is over, bang. And it's also something that's not necessarily expected for this track because it's a little heavy and a little bigger. But it worked really well. Daniel Meyer, my friend who hates filter sweeps, he actually told me to make it louder, and he was right. So I made it louder. For him, it's probably not even loud enough, but I like it. It was not as loud as it is now. And what else is here? What do we have here? Oh, that's a typical swell here. And then the chorus is playing generally. So what else do we have? These are all the same. Oh, I think that's that. What is this here in the background? Transitions. Oh, that's the crackle again because, that's the outro after the last chorus. And I decided, because the song started with vinyl, it should start with the LP record player ending. The end with that. Typical thing, and then this. And it's getting, if you look at the volume, it's going to go less and less over time. All right. I think I have nothing else to show you here. I think this is all I have for you. This song has been, making the song has both been very, very easy and very, a long time process. Because I think I talked to Chris about it in August, quickly, after I did this 9th version of the song. And he said yes very quickly, literally in 3 or 4 minutes. And but then something happened. What happened then? Oh, then he didn't have time for whatever reason. I don't remember. He said, I can't do it before end of September. Well, no, and something. And by that point, I had decided that I want to put out the Halloween Spooky Queens track, which I had done a year earlier, a few days after Halloween 2019. So I said, let's do that later. Let's do the better single later. Let's do the Halloween Spooky Queens because it was Halloween. And what am I talking about here? And then after Halloween, the cyberpunk thing came up. And November 3rd or something, I got the idea to make the EP, and then I had to do it by December 4th or something like that, 3rd. So I said to Chris, you know what? We push it on the back burner. But that always gives you time to work on it and say, this isn't good enough. And then you compare. And then when you make something new, like the Cyberpunk EP, I spent so much time making that I got better at things. And then you look back at stuff you made before, like this demo, and you figure out it's not really that good. And you make it better and you make it better. While at the same time, all sorts of things like Danny's extra vocals or the orchestra, all of these things kind of pushed it and made it better and better. No pun intended, actually. So it was kind of telling me that doesn't matter when it has to be released, and it's a good song. Oh, Marcel says, how about the master bus? Okay, everyone who doesn't know what Marcel is talking about, let me do that real quick. The master bus is the last channel of a mixing board, mixing console. This is where all these 132 channels, they all come together in that master bus. And as luck will have it, I have a big window for the master bus because that's what I use when I want to look at it. So basically what happens here is that, let me see where I am here. All right, let's go here so I can start it. So basically when the music is playing, all the different sounds, they go into the master bus or mix bus or 2 bus or whatever you want to call it. And then you can imagine they all come in here, and then they go through this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and then basically that's what you hear. So I'm going to turn off everything on the master bus. Is there a thing where I can do that? Yes, here. and just play it.
You know I never.
And the first thing you will notice is the massive difference in level. Like, it's much quieter if I turn off the master bus.
You know I never liked the sun.
But other than that, it sounds pretty similar, I think.
I stayed in.
So now I'm going to turn it on just for comparison.
You know I never liked the sun.
Massive difference in level, but other than that, not too different. The thing that I do is I always mix into a master chain, always, because I tried having other people master my stuff recently. Like the last time I was happy with someone was James Meeker, who mastered a lot of stuff for me. But like since Night Physics, I said I'm going to do it for myself because he's not doing that anymore. So it becomes much easier if from the very first note that the first kick drum, the first whatever, your stuff sounds like it's supposed to sound in the end. The Britson bus is just a saturator and like a VU meter, and this one is just fucking crunching to the end, I think.
You know I never liked the sun.
And it has a saturation on.
I stayed inside when I was young.
So that's what that is. And what else do we have? Then we have the BX Digital, the Brainworks. I use this. I only use it here for the mono maker. Oh, you can't see it because my window is in front of it. All right. This has a mono button where everything under, for in this case, 250 hertz is mono. If I turn it off, nothing's mono. Maybe this is 68 hertz. Everything under 68 is mono. I set it to 249 or something like that. This is what you used to do for vinyl. You still do it for vinyl mastering. Other than that, this thing does nothing. I don't use it anymore. On newer productions, I use something else to do the mono thing. There's a thing, I think it's called VMTU meter that does this. But that's the only reason why it's on here. I do use the Gullfoss EQ, which doesn't do that much, but I liked what it did. It's like some AI EQ that changes tiny little things, which makes it easier. But I only put it on at the very end to see if it does something. What else is the Fab Filter doing? Fab Filter doing absolutely nothing except rolling off the very, very, very low. SSL compressor, just doing a few dB, I think.
You know I
4
never
dB.
liked the sun.
And the last thing is the Fab Filter Pro L. And the trick here, really for everyone who pays any attention to this, is not to use it as a limiter, but to use it as a clipper. It has a program called Clipping BM. And what you can really do really well is do all your shit in front of it and then run the last gain thing into it. So the, what do you call it? The makeup gain on the bus compressor here. That's the one that sends the volume to the Pro L. So basically what it's doing is I'm playing the song. And right now there's no clipping going on because I took away the makeup gain and reduced it. So now this is on clipping, and now I'm erasing the makeup gain and driving it into the clipping. And you can see there's going to be a red thing showing you how much it's clipping.
I cannot give it up. Does it ever get better?
And I usually shoot for -8, -7 dB RMS or LUFS. And it sounds clean.
Does it ever get better?
Get like 4 dBs of clipping sometimes, but who cares? It's -8 here. It's perfect.
Or does it get blacker?
And that's all that's on my master bus. I don't even recently use the SSL anymore, just because I've used it for 20 years. Just tried something else. I'm using the Townhouse compressor by BX Digital, I think is it. I don't know who it is. But yes, that's basically it. No secrets here. It's just, making shit mono, cutting some lows. The Gullfoss isn't doing much. Okay, for those who don't know what it is, if you pay attention again, I'm going to turn this on and off. There's barely any change.
You know I never liked the sun.
Now it's off.
I stayed inside when I was
Now it's on.
young, and now for once I look.
It does a tiny little thing to the stereo spectrum, but if you don't have it, I wouldn't say it's worth it. It's been what do you call it, hyped a lot on the internet, but I don't know. It's not really that necessary. All right. If you have any other questions, now is the time. Otherwise, I hope some of you got a little bit of either value or entertainment out of that, and I'm very happy with this track. I'm very happy with how it turned out, and when I sat on the photo session for the picture where they painted the lyrics on me, the lady who did the writing, she she wanted to play the song on a loop and repeat. And the one thing that I really don't like is to listen to my own music when it's done. And at that point, it was already sent off to Spotify and all these things. It was a completely finished song. And usually when I have a finished song and it's a week or a day after it's finished and sent off, so you can't really easily change, I don't listen to it anymore because I will find 20 things that I want to change. So I was like, oh, shit. She wants to listen to it over and over and over, and I'm going to fucking hate everything about it. And surprisingly, I didn't. I didn't hate anything. So this is very, very unusual. And I'm very happy that I'm happy with the song and I don't want to change much. Probably in a year or so, I'll be like, this was terrible. But I think if you don't do that, we talked about it on the Discord today. I think if you don't do that, you're not progressing and you're not evolving. So I'm happy for now. And if I'm not happy in the future, then that's cool too. Anyway, I hope things are going better for you guys. And if you like this sort of stuff, maybe the Patreon is something for you, because I do this at least once a month. What I'm not doing there is, what do you call it? I'm not doing a breakdown of a song that already exists, but I'm producing new songs. And maybe that's something for you. What does it say? Golfos, that's your name? It's like the same as the EQ almost. Minus 9 dB is your level for streaming upload. I'm going, well, this is LUFS -9. I go -8, -7, something like that. Yes. And I know that it's blah, 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 -14, whatever. It doesn't matter. The sound is completely different if you mix for -14. Also, like if you send it out via DistroKid, streaming is only one part. So you don't want your shit to be really, really, really low level on MP3s and stuff like that. The trick is really, even if I turn off the clipper completely and it goes down to -16, the same, it sounds pretty much the same. So sometimes I even go -6 or something for streaming. And what it really is -0.3 dB here. So it's the full scale level is as loud as you can. And yes, the trick is to make it sound good and loud and not shit and loud. And I'm still working on that. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I see you around and you have a good evening. Until next time.